Welcome to Nuke's Fitness Podcast. My name is Manouk Vink, and after having struggled with my body image and my fitness journey for more than 10 years, leading me to all sorts of extremes, I have now finally cracked the code on how you can achieve a fit and toned physique without extremes and restrictions. Now, being a certified nutritionist and personal trainer, I have made it my mission to help women achieve their body goals by feeling empowered through fitness instead of being afraid of foods and being controlled by the fitness industry. In this podcast, I will be sharing with you tried and true methods on how you can finally achieve your dream body and tell you the secrets most coaches won't. So if you are tired of working your ass off without getting results, or you feel like you're putting in all the work but not seeing change in the mirror, this podcast is for you. I will be dropping some fitness truth bombs so you can start taking control of your body goals while still enjoying life. Thank you so much for listening and enjoy the show. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Nuke's Fitness Podcast. Thank you so much for being here, and I'm so excited to jump into today's topic. So as you may know, yesterday I launched my free 5-day Dream Body Challenge live. I normally have the challenge running in the background, so this is pre-recorded, but I do every so often run the challenge live. This is 5 days of free coaching with me where we tackle 5 topics that will get you closer to achieving your dream body. So I just want to let you know, if you haven't signed up or if you still want to jump in, we've only had 1 day of the challenge, so you can click the link below and hop in right now, catch the replay from yesterday, and get started on transforming your body and get the tools and all the information that you need to finally sculpt your body without feeling restricted and without extremes. Also, it's my mission to empower you through fitness instead of feeling deflated, confused, and exhausted by the fitness industry and all the diets that you've tried because you're not getting the results that you want. But because we started the challenge and I thought, I'm going to give you listeners a little nugget of information, what we start with in the challenge. And although we all think it may seem very straightforward and we all think that we're very clear on what goal it is that we want to achieve, it isn't always as clear as you may think. And I'm going to explain to you why that is. So in today's episode, we're going to be talking about defining your goal and why sometimes we are working our asses off in the gym and we're not seeing results because you're not working towards the correct goal. You might have been working out loads, doing everything you think you need to do to achieve your goal and not getting the results that you want because you are not working towards the correct goal. And I'm going to explain to you how that works. So what I normally do with my challengers, so everybody that joins my challenge, and also I do this again in my NUSA membership, I tell my clients and my challengers to close their eyes and to take a moment, breathe in, breathe out, and imagine that you meet the better version or the version of yourself that you would like to be. So imagine you see the version of yourself that you are working towards in front of you. And when you do this, I want you to get very clear on what this person looks like. Think about her body. Like, what does her body look like? Does she have toned arms? Is she slim? Is she fuller? Does she have bigger glutes? Does she have bigger thighs? Does she have slimmer thighs? Does she have more defined arms or not so much? Does she have abs or does she have just a flat stomach or does she have more curves everywhere? Like, get very clear on what the best version of yourself looks like and how she presents herself. And also get clear on what this best version of yourself does on a daily basis to achieve that look. And once you get clear on that, and you have an idea of what this version of you looks like, you can get even clearer on what it is that you want to achieve and what it would take for you to get there. And before we continue, I want to make something very clear. The only reason you can conjure up or think of this version of yourself is because that version of yourself exists within you. If you can't imagine something, or let's put it this way, if you can imagine something or see a version of yourself, then that means that that version exists. Because I'm pretty sure that when you imagined yourself, it wasn't a completely different person, right? It was a version of you. And the reason that you could imagine that version of yourself is because that version of yourself exists. It wouldn't have morphed into someone else. It wouldn't have morphed into something that is completely impossible. You wouldn't have suddenly become taller or shorter, right? So what I'm trying to say is that the in your subconscious, you have an image of this person that is you, and that is your best version. So she exists. She is something that is very achievable. Otherwise, you could not imagine it. So because you can imagine this version of yourself means that you can be or already are this version. You just haven't taken the steps to embody that or to believe that that is you. And I do this because once you get clear on what that version of yourself looks like and behaves like and acts like, that's when you get very clear on what your goal is and what it is that you want to achieve. Because when you start thinking of all the characteristics of this version of yourself, then you can get very clear, oh, she looked very fit. She had more muscle in her legs. She had defined arms, or maybe not, and when you get clear on that, that's when you can be like, oh, so that's what I need to be working towards. Then what you're going to do is you're going to take the possible goals there are, and you're going to look at those possible goals and say yes or no. Is this something that I want to achieve? Yes or no. So there are a few things that you can want to achieve, and they're not mutually exclusive. You can have more than one of these goals. So of course we have the goal that I believe most of us want to achieve, which is a toned physique. A lot of us, not all of us, want to achieve a toned physique. And what a toned physique actually is someone who has more muscle and less fat. Right? So you have this toned physique and you have these lines of definition in your body and in your arms because you have muscle, and because your fat percentage has gotten lower, that's when those muscles start to show. That is what a toned physique is. It's more muscle with less fat. Then you've got some people, or some of you want to become stronger. And you can have strength goals where you really want to become a power lifter. So you really want to lift heavy weights, or you just want to be stronger so that you can do more things more easily throughout the day. Like, for example, if you have children, pick up your children more easily, feel less exhausted from carrying up the groceries. All of these things. Feel less exhausted when you're doing other activities where you're able to do it for longer, or be able to manage more things because your body is stronger. Then, of course, just overall fitness. Some of you you don't care about being toned, being strong, being whatever. You just want to be fit all around. You just want to be mentally, physically, everything fit. Take care of your body, all of it. And then you can also have the goal to want to focus on a muscle group that you want to enhance or grow. So for my booty ladies, I know there's some of you that want to just focus on glute growth because you want to create more of that curvier look. Am I right? So these are just a few goals that you can work towards. And like I said, you can have more than one of these goals. And of course, some of you may want to gain mass, gain muscle, gain weight because you feel like you're too small. We forget to talk about this as well. And see, even I just forgot in this podcast to talk about the fact that some of you are struggling to put on mass and put on weight. And some of you may think that you need to do something else to achieve your goal. But if you're looking to gain mass or get more of a curvier physique, then you might need to train in a different way than girls who are looking to get toned. Does that make sense? So when you look at these goals, like I said, they are not mutually exclusive. You can have more of one of these goals. So you can want to be more toned and be stronger and be fitter and grow one muscle group. So you can want to be toned, want to have glute gains and be stronger and be all-round fit, right? You can have more of one of these goals, but that's why you need to get very clear on what it is that your best version or the version of yourself that you want to be looks like, so that you can get clear on, okay, so I want rounder shoulders, for example. That means I need to work on shoulder growth. Oh, I want I want more of a curvier body. I want more of an hourglass shape. Oh, that means I will need to work on my glutes and probably also my back, so that you can create that hourglass shape, and you want the illusion of a smaller waist or create a smaller waist depending on what your fat percentage is. So this is where, we gotta get very clear on what your goal is. And the reason a lot of us are still not, what we tend to focus on is the number on the scale. A lot of the time we tend to focus on the number on the scale. And we think that we need to have some sort of weight goal. But it's not always about the weight, because what I asked you this in a previous episode as well. If you could look a certain way, the way that you want to look, or the physique that you want to achieve, and your weight is exactly the same, then does that number on the scale actually matter? No, right? I don't think so. I think it's more about what you end up looking like. So we need to throw that number on the scale. We kind of need to just get rid of that idea. Unless, of course, you really are overweight and you need to lose some weight. But other than that, you need to we forget about the number on the scale. We just focus on what our body composition looks like what we want to work on, what our goals are. Do you want to be able to run a marathon? Then that's a completely different thing than just wanting to be toned, right? Yes, you can still do both again, but you need to get clear on what it is that you want to achieve. Do you want to become a power lifter, or do you want to become a runner? Do you want to do this? Do you want to do that? You got to get clear on what it is and what physique is attached to that version of yourself. That's when you get very clear on what your goal is. And I say this because I experienced basically this situation where I ended up, as I like to call it, the fitness futility loop, where you're working your butt off, working towards the wrong goal, and you're not seeing results because you're working towards the wrong goal, but you're still working your butt off. So then you end up giving up, because what happens is you're like, oh, I'm not seeing the results that I want because you're working towards the wrong goal. And then you give up, and then you restart at some point because you see something new and exciting that you think is going to get you to your body goals. And then you restart the loop again because you're not clear on what it is that you want to achieve. That's what that is. And I'll give you my example. Basically, I would go around gyms asking everybody, when I went to the gym, any instructor that I saw, hey, how do I get toned? What is a good exercise to get toned? And I would constantly, should I be doing full body? Should I be doing upper body? Should I be doing a body part split? Should I do squats first, or should I do lunges first? Should I do kettlebell exercises? Should I do more reps or less reps? So I would constantly be asking these questions, and constantly I was getting a different answer, and I didn't understand how it worked. I was like, why can nobody give me a clear answer? And that's because you need to understand for yourself how it works. And all trainers, they have a different opinion, or they give you a short answer, and it's not going to be clear enough to the point that you can work with it, right? So you need to understand how it works for you. And that is also something that we tackle in the 5-day free challenge, because then you really start understanding what you need to be doing. And so what happened with me, I started wasting my time on all these workouts where I read somewhere that Victoria's Secret models would do jump rope to get their toned body. And then I read somewhere that, I asked a trainer, she was like, yeah, you should just do these like jumping exercises up in a studio. So me going up to an empty studio doing jumping exercises for an hour, it wasn't getting me anywhere, and it was very exhausting and it was no fun. And then I ended up trying kettlebells. Literally, guys, when I tell you I tried it all, and it wasn't giving me results until I got a coach and we started working towards our bodybuilding competition. And yes, I've told you guys before, it was a very extreme diet and workout routine, but it did teach me a lot of things, a lot of positive things, but mainly just positive. But it also showed me how extremes are negative. So aside from the fact that it was a very extreme way of training and a very extreme diet, I'm going to focus on the important part of what I learned from this and why it is so important when you start achieving your fitness goals. So extremity aside, the thing that I realized when I started training for my bodybuilding competition is that I needed to focus on muscle growth. Here I was chasing a toned physique, trying everything to get the toned physique because that's like its own little category. And all I wanted was to lose weight, to be skinnier, to be this, to be that. But I also wanted to be toned. And I was wasting my energy, my time, and my exercises on things that I didn't enjoy. And I wasn't seeing results because I neglected the muscle building part of it. So yes, I did some strength training workouts, but they weren't designed to actually build muscle. When you're doing kettlebell exercises and they're more like 12 to 20 reps and you're not building or progressively overloading these exercises, you're not going to start building muscle. And the only way you're going to get a toned physique is when you build muscle. Because the only way you're going to get definition in your body is when you have muscle. And then the muscle shows when you drop your body fat. That's how that works. So I realized when I started training for my bodybuilding competition that I needed to be working on muscle growth, on all of my muscles, not just focusing on one muscle because I wanted to become overall toned. And so I realized I've been doing this all wrong because I've just been working on the fat loss part or the weight loss part, the getting toned part, but I totally neglected the fact because I didn't realize that I needed to build muscle. And that comes from the fear of if you build muscle, you'll become bulky. No. If you're listening to this, ladies, you are not instantly going to become bulky from picking up weights, from training with weights. If you become bulky when you decide to set out to become bulky, when you work your butt off to become bulky. Let me give you a little reality check here. A lot of men, including my boyfriend, worked his ass off to become big. It was like a struggle to become large. Like men out there, you can ask a lot of them, don't become big easily. They as in muscular. They have to eat a lot of food. They have to lift a lot of heavy weights. A bunch of them also take supplements to help them grow. It is not something that you just do. And especially us women, we are not built to become large or big, like bulky, like Arnold Schwarzenegger bulky. That's what I'm talking about. We are not designed to be that. So if that is your goal as a woman, if it is your goal to become bulky, do you know how much work goes into that? That doesn't just happen. And even then, women who really look like Arnold Schwarzenegger are a lot of the time on some shit that, They're using some extras, let's just say that, to look that way. We don't have the testosterone levels to look like that. That is something that you need to get extra of, if you know what I'm saying. So this fear of becoming bulky is unnecessary because it's a combination of so many things that will make you look bulky, and it's a lot of hard work that will make you look bulky. Like, it doesn't just happen. If you look at my bodybuilding pictures, I was training heavy weights. So bodybuilding, bikini fitness. For anybody who's new here, bikini fitness, look it up. It's not like bodybuilding women and Arnold Schwarzenegger women, you know what I'm saying? Bikini fitness is quite feminine. So it's very feminine. It's very curvy, like curvy women. Well, not curvy. How do you say? Strong, fit women with lots of definition in their body and super lean and super ripped. That's what these women look like. But like lean, not bulky or big. So just look up bikini fitness and you'll know what I mean. When I looked like that, like extremely lean, extremely ripped, I didn't look bulky at all. I looked the opposite. And at that point, I was training very heavy weights. The reason I looked that lean was because my fat percentage was low and extremely low, and I was following a very strict diet. So even that was also not easy. So, you're not gonna just start looking bulky. It doesn't work. I've lifted heavier weights and I didn't become like Arnold Schwarzenegger. It doesn't happen. So that aside, you need to not be afraid of lifting weights, because I guarantee whatever your goal is, almost all of your goals, whoever's listening to this, whether it's being toned, whether it's gaining more mass, whether it's becoming fitter, whether it's growing your glutes, whether it's, am I missing anything? Becoming stronger. Strength training or lifting weights is your best friend. And that's what's going to get you your results. Depending on what you want to focus on, that's where your training schedule changes. So if you're wanting to build your glutes, you need to put extra attention on glute exercises. And that also means your diet might need to change because you want to build mass there. It depends on your body type and it depends on what your goal is. And that's how you train. If you are looking to get toned and lose body fat and get that sculpted body that you've always been looking for, those HIIT classes, those Zumba classes, those extreme low calorie diets, all of that is not going to get you there. It's not going to get you there. If you're only focusing on weight loss, if you're only focusing on just moving your body, I mean, it's great that you're moving your body, but if you have a specific goal in mind and you're just doing random classes and you're just doing random exercises, or you're just looking to burn as many calories as possible, you're not going to get the results that you want. You're just not. And you're going to be frustrated because you're working so hard, but you're not seeing it in the mirror. And that's because you're not following a structured workout routine specific to your goal. And that's why you need to get clear on your goal. If your goal is just to lose weight and you don't care about the rest, then by all means do all the random classes. I'm still not a fan, but go do it. But if you want to have a toned physique, if you want to have definition in your body, if you want all of that, like if you have a specific physical goal in mind, and when you envision that version of yourself, she looked a specific way, then you need to focus on a structured workout routine, a strength training routine designed for that goal. So if, for example, Susie wants to build her glutes and that's her main goal, and then you've got Jane who just wants to become overall toned and fit, Susie's going to have a slightly different workout routine than Jane, because Susie might really struggle with building her glutes, gaining mass in her glutes. So Susie's going to have to tackle heavy glute exercises 3 times a week. Whereas Jane doesn't need to, because maybe Jane genetically already has larger glutes. She just wants to tone up her body. So she should be doing more of full body routine, but still be focusing on strengthening all of those exercises and all of those muscle groups. And then the diet, again, depending on what your body type is, changes as well. So if Susie is struggling to put on mass, maybe Susie's been dieting down, but she needs to actually increase her calories because she wants to build glutes. And if she's training this heavy and she's not seeing results, maybe she's not fueling her body well enough for those results. And that's why she's not getting the results that she wants. Whereas Jane maybe struggles to lose fat, so Jane needs to work more on a fat loss diet in combination with a strength training routine. You see, so if you're not clear on your goal, or you are clear on your goal, but you're just not tackling it correctly because maybe Susie, for example, thinks, oh yeah, everybody's eating a low calorie diet. I should be doing that too, and I'll just follow these booty classes, and then I'm sure I'll get glute gains. I'm very sorry. I'm sorry, no shade to all the booty classes, but you're not going to gain glutes from those classes. The way you're going to gain glutes is to continuously stimulate those glute muscles and continuously be pushing the boundary and progressively overloading those exercises. So with progressive overload, I mean, you want to have all of your exercises be close to failure. So when you're doing 3 sets of hip thrust, for example, you shouldn't be breezing through 15 reps of hip thrust. They should be hard. You should barely be able to hit the 15, and then you know you're at a good weight. And obviously, technique is something I'm very strict on. We tackle that in my membership I have videos for all the exercises because I want to be very sure that you're doing the exercises correctly. Because if you're not doing them correctly, then you could be doing everything you think you should be doing, but you're not targeting the muscles correctly. So that is why it is so, so important to get clear on your goal. Because it was mind-blowing to me that once I started focusing on muscle gaining and fat loss, how quickly my body started transforming. When in the past, I was working my butt off, or so I thought, to achieve the goal that I wanted, or so I thought, and not seeing the results that I wanted. Because I wasn't working towards the right goal, and I was sort of just randomly doing things that I heard here and there. That's why a structured workout routine is so important, because if you already struggle to get to the gym and you already exhausted by doing it and you're not seeing the results that you want, then why would you continue? Because you're not seeing the results that you want. You're not getting stronger. So get clear on your goal and then get a workout program that is designed for that goal and start working towards that. And then you'll start seeing the results that you want. That's why it's so important to have a structured workout program. That's why it's so important to stay consistent and to be clear on what your goal is. Because otherwise you will want to quit because you're not going to see all the work that you are doing reflecting in the mirror. And we don't want that. And you want to get out of that cycle of trying one thing after the next. You want to start understanding how you should be training depending on your goal. So that's why you need to get very crystal clear on what it is that you want to achieve. Because again, if you just want to be fitter, then maybe that's a completely different goal than if you want to glute gains. So you need to make sure on what it is that you want to achieve. Like, what's the most important to you? What does this version of yourself look like? What does she do on a daily basis? And then from there, you can get clear on how you're going to tackle that goal. From there, you're going to stay consistent with the workout program that you designed or that you have for your specific goal. From there, you're going to build and change. And, when you've reached a specific goal, how do you navigate, changing your workout program so that you can tackle it a little bit more, or to change your approach and the diet, and then everything comes together. Because if you are doing something that you've just heard somewhere that works for someone because that person looks toned now, that doesn't mean it's going to work for you. Because maybe that person had a different body type, a different goal in mind, and therefore is tackling it in a different way. So that is my nugget of advice to you today. Before you start your fitness journey, or when you're in your fitness journey, have a little think about what you're doing right now and what your goal is, and why what you're doing right now might not be working for you. And then you need to make sure that you have a workout program designed specifically for your goals. And if you are not in the 5-day challenge and you want to join the 5-day challenge, whether you're listening now or in the future, you can click the link below. And if you're listening now at the point that I released this episode, then you can join me live. If you're listening to this later, you will still be able to access all the information. And in the 5-day challenge, I walk you through how to get clear on your goal, stay consistent, set up your workout program depending on your specific body goals, and how to tackle your nutrition and how to maintain this system and maintain those results long term. So, if you haven't already and you feel like this was a topic that you're like, oh my God, it blew my mind, I think I might be doing the wrong thing, depending on my goal, then I'll see you in the challenge. Because stop wasting your time. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. If you're just going to stay stuck in this cycle of trying one workout after the next and you're not seeing the results that you want, then it's not worth it. So I hope this was a valuable podcast episode for you. Let me know in the comments below. Give me a nice little review if you liked it. And I'm always open to any suggestions, anything that you would like tackled in this podcast. Send me a message on Instagram or find my website. And everything is linked in the show notes below. And I will tackle a topic that you suggest. Thank you so much for listening. And I'm excited to see you in the challenge if you're joining. And otherwise, I hope to see you next week in the podcast. If you enjoyed listening to this podcast and you feel like you got a lot of value out of it, it would mean the world to me if you would rate and review the podcast and share it with someone who you feel like would get a lot of value out of it. In the meantime, come hang out with me on my Instagram @ManookFink, or join my free challenge, which will be linked in the show notes. It's academy.nooksfitness.com/join-challenge. If you can't remember that name, check the links in the show notes, and I hope to see you there.